That hurt. More verticality. Recording in progress. All right. Welcome to the Straight Red Card. All right. Hey, thanks for joining us today. The Thursday show. Right, you got here just in time, too. Well, you actually got here earlier than just in time. So that's
Score.
So, God, where do we want to start today? Because we got a lot of things to talk about. I know that doesn't seem normal or rational because there's not a lot going on in the soccer world, right? Pulisic did get his, 20 minutes today?
Yeah, I couldn't duplicate his magic.
Yeah, he couldn't. I was hoping he'd get more time than that. But, I mean, hopefully that doesn't become a thing where he just becomes a super sub. But, hey, I did have to ask you, did you watch the Mexico-Guatemala game?
No, I saw the highlights, if you could call them that.
Yeah. We'll talk about that, too, because we had Jonathan Gomez play. He got 8 minutes. And then, of course, Zendejas got 72. And I don't know if that means he's now capped. I think he could play a number of them. He's played a handful.
Which one?
Now.
Zendejas,
yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
In Gomez's 8 minutes of with the U.S. national team, he got an assist.
He did? Oh, yeah. You know, a hockey assist, though.
I believe he shot. It was blocked. And I'm giving him as an assist.
Yeah, that's not really.
Because we kept preaching about how to beat a low block, and I'm just like, shoot the ball, just shoot it.
But we do have a lot of people panicking about that. I just don't think that we need to do that quite yet. So, also, did you see the Tyson Fury fight this weekend?
No.
You probably don't even know who fucking Tyson Fury is, do you?
Boxer, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a heavyweight champ of the world. I think he might retire, but yeah, dude, he's like 6'9", 6'10". He's just a giant, massive human being, and he's just badass. And he won. He knocked the guy out. That was a lot of fun to watch. I don't know. I'm just entertained by that dude. Don't know why. And anything interesting happened today? Because I may have missed it. I was busy. Like anything in the news that came up that was interesting?
I mean, that we'll be covering a lot of this stuff. Nothing out of the ordinary that outside of that.
Okay,
we'll get to that. We'll get that later on. But I figure let's start on a high note. Let's start with a question.
Well, yeah, let's start with questions. And one thing I do want to say though, I'm really sick of hearing that stupid commercial. Gainiac, gain. I'm a gainiac on the floor. No, smell my drawers.
No.
It's a disgusting commercial. I'm not going to smell your drawers just because you've
seen this before.
Because you use Gain. Good for you. But I'm still not sniffing your drawers, buddy. I don't care what the commercial says. So, Brian DeMarco, thoughts on the rumors that Mallorca is making it hard for people to scout Hoppy? They really had that guy. Also, given that Werner Bremen, Werder Bremen is what he meant. Werner for Derek. Werder is going back up. Do you think Sargent should have stayed? God, it's so funny. Hindsight 2020, obviously. We talked about this. We text back and forth about this very thing this week.
Do you know what he's talking about? How Mallorca is making it difficult for people to scout Hoppy? Do you know what he's talking about?
I think
he's talking about this. Atlanta United sent Jonathan Spector as a scout to go see Matthew Hoppy, but the trip was deemed unsuccessful as Mallorca trains behind closed doors.
What? Shouldn't have Jonathan Spector known that before he left? Shouldn't he have given Mallorca a call? Pick up the phone, give Stu a call, say, "Hey, Stu, we want to go scout Matthew Hoppy." "Hey, man, don't do that. It's all behind doors." "Oh, okay. Well, that'll save me a trip then. Thank you." Maybe I'll
I
just
think
go.
I think Spectre talked to Holden, and he said that, and he still went because he wanted a vacation in Spain for a week.
Well, that's one nice ass little island to go fucking vacation to.
I'm already over here, guys. I'll just do a little scouting at the local games.
I wish that I had gone to Mallorca when I was a little older than I was, because I was like 7 and I don't remember a whole lot of it. So, but yeah, it's apparently a freaking paradise. So, I mean, it's not like Matthew's not in a good town. He is in a good town, but not for playing soccer, unfortunately. Not
Taking
for
your
him.
legs up and just enjoying the nice island breeze. Yeah, it'd be nice. But
Yeah.
kind of want to play when you're at that stage in your career.
I don't want Mallorca to go to I don't want him to go to Atlanta. I don't think he has any inclination to go and play anywhere but to test himself at, the highest levels of soccer. So Matthew Hoppy's pretty stubborn that way. So I don't see him going, yeah, what the hell? MLS, sure. No.
But yeah, Tactical brought up this point too about how with Bremen and Sargent going back up. With Bremen and Schalke going up, that maybe they shouldn't have busted the load a little too early. They probably should have stayed with the team.
Yeah, they would have played all season this season. Both of them would have been starters.
Wouldn't have been much different with Sargent, because he's pretty much a locked-in starter for the most part,
true.
outside of being injured at Norwich. Mind you, he may have actually played striker at Bremen. But 2 point. This is 2.1. Sargent's transfer to Bremen was worth from Bremen was an $8 million transfer. That wasn't Sargent saying, "I want to get the fuck out of here." That's Bremen saying,
"We need every penny we can get."
I don't think we're going to get any better of a deal for you, and $8 million is good enough for us. Bye. Yeah. And Sargent's like, "Okay, I'll go play first division in England. Why not?"
Yeah.
Maybe you could say that about Hoppy wanting out.
Unfortunately for Sargent, it means he's going to be down next year. So hopefully he'll just stay with Norwich City and help them come back up.
Sure.
Because they're on that freaking roller coaster, right? Like Fulham, up, down, up.
I mean, we're obviously we're not like hating on the championship, and we've been bringing in Jedi and Ream throughout qualifiers. So why not?
Yeah,
we're looking at players in Scotland.
Jedi picked up a knock of some sort. Jedi picked up some sort of knock. He wasn't even in the 18 today. So, or was it yesterday? Anyhow, doesn't matter. He wasn't in there. But Fulham lost again. So, I mean, it's absolutely impossible for them not to finish in first. I get it, but why are we going out on such a shitty note? I mean, finish the season strong, Come on, guys. Jesus Christ.
You can play a couple of your younger kids that you want to get a little bit of experience before you make the jump up. I don't know.
Well, they've done
ideas here.
They've done a little of that,
Sure.
Nate Wierzbicki. Hope I got that right. That sounds like a good Polish name. Still managed 4 goals and 2 assists. Who did?
Sargent.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well,
people are forgetting about the early what is it, EFL, whatever the fuck that cup is called.
Yeah.
Cup at the very beginning where he scored 2 goals and had an assist.
Yeah, you got all kinds of cups over there. Gets a little ridiculous after a while. I mean, he 2 of those were in 1 game, obviously.
Sure.
And then he's got this mystery injury that
it's an ankle injury, whatever that is.
Yeah, and it's kept him out now for what could have been a time for him to shine at the end of the season, and that's too bad. So it's not. It's not helping him make a case to come back on this team, on the U.S. men's national team.
Nate said you got his name right.
All right.
It's Wierzbicki, right?
Wierzbicki, yeah.
Wierzbicki.
Yeah. Well, I had.
It's like the Polish version of Where's Waldo.
5 years.
Wierzbicki.
I lived next to the Sapanskis in West Point, New York. His dad was a major, and my dad was a major at the time. And then they both became lieutenant colonels, but later on, and then colonels. And then Sapanski's dad became a general and worked pretty much his whole career as a professor at West Point, New York, whereas my dad only did it for 5 years. I guess his dad was smarter than my dad. Well, on paper, he was, because he had a doctorate in engineering. So
What does he know?
My dad just had one in leadership, whatever that is. Chris Gary, YouTube notification didn't go out to me. Yeah, it got to me.
I'd say I got mine, but I mean, judging by our current viewer count, 18, we're probably a bit shadow banned here. Hey guys, make sure you hit the like button and share this out. Get it on Twitter. Let everybody know that we're live. We're covering a variety of topics. Speaking of which, I brought one up here that we might as well just jump right into Pulisic.
Yeah, it seems Tuchel uses Pulisic as a break glass in case of emergency type player, which is frustrating because if Pulisic played more minutes, he would have more goals and would look worthy of the 10 shirt and not like a marketing scheme. I don't think anybody at this point does consider him. I mean, and I go back to the guy who does all of the videos. Hello, guys. That guy. I forgot his name all of a sudden. Shit. Anyhow.
The Chelsea guy?
Yeah, the Chelsea guy.
Yeah, I can't think of his name right now.
God.
I think Filippo had him on one show or whatever. He was on his show or something like that.
He's a great guy. And I've had discussions with him. I mean, chats, whatever, with him before. He probably wouldn't remember. But anyhow, I have, and, asking questions. And he seems to be pretty fair about his assessment of Pulisic. And, it's been frustrating at times, right? But Tuchel, look at Tuchel's massive revolving door of players that he plays. It's like, when's the last time he's played the same lineup twice in a row?
So yeah, I looked at the stats to find out who's played what, and there's like a couple of players who played like almost every single game. That's Rudiger, and that's
and Rudiger's leaving.
Mendy, there we go. Yeah, and so outside of that, everybody else, there's a smattering of people between about 15 and 1,800 minutes, and then everybody else is like 1,000 or less. So he does cycle through, and I think that's kind of a negative, quite frankly.
Yeah, I don't know how you get any flow or any chemistry going. And then he uses two different formations. Sometimes he'll go out with a 3-5-2. Sometimes it's a 3-4-2-1. Sometimes it's a 4-3-3 as it was the other week. And, that's got to be like a little nuts when you're a player too. It's like, how are we
back and forth? Yeah.
Yeah. How are we playing? Now, I'm not saying Tuchel's a bad manager. I think he's a thoughtful manager, but I think
he just tinkers a little too much.
Yeah, he overthinks it. I think,
well,
find the guys that you like, start them most of the time, and rotate as needed to rest guys. But the way he does it, it's just like, it seems like sometimes wholesale changes. It's crazy.
Well, and he talks about it, how it kind of, I feel like he almost kind of goes like who he feels is hot, going on a hot spurt at a moment. He talked about how, like, when Pulisic was playing a lot, Werner had to sit the bench, and now that Werner's back out there doing well, that Pulisic's out, type of thing. Like, it's just like kind of a rotation back and forth of like who's kicking, who's not. I'm not saying that's accurate or anything by any means, but again looking at just the stats and looking at goals and assists per 90. Pulisic is second, actually, right behind Mount. Now, I'm not saying Pulisic has the second most goals. I think there are a couple players with more goals than him, but they also have more minutes. But Mount's obviously Mount's killing it stat-wise. But again, Pulisic has something like 1,000 in like 2 minutes this season. Mind you, he spent a good chunk of that injured, and it definitely plays a factor.
Yeah.
But he's also still been arguably one of the most productive players on the field.
If Lampard had stayed at Chelsea, it would have been better for Pulisic, I think. But it wouldn't have been better for Chelsea, I don't think. So that's the problem. You want to be going to the Champions League every year, and it looked like, for all intents and purposes, that was not going to happen. And so, it was a change that was necessary at the time. And Tuchel's just an erratic dude, man. Tuchel is thoughtful. I call BS. He said Pooley had to rest for multiple time zones of international window travel. We are going to talk about that. That's what I mean about Tuchel being thoughtful, right? That's a really bullshit, thoughtful. Maybe
sounds like a legit thing to say. Like, he was gassed.
It's bullshit. You are totally right. But at least when he's answering the question, he's coming up with some bullshit. Meanwhile, Silva's 35, traveled more and didn't need a rest. And that is exactly true.
Yep.
They both had to do multiple time zones. the question, what he could have said is that, when Pulisic got back, he was more beat up than Silva because, when he plays,
Sure.
people take him out. They knock him down. And he might have had some bumps.
How much? I mean, I have no idea how much Silva played while out and about. I mean, Pulisic was out there every game.
Well,
and you could say the mileage was wearing down on him. It's possible.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe Tuchel. I mean, English is not his first language, so his bullshit in English is not going to sound as good as other people's bullshit.
Sounded like an excuse written in crayon.
It did. It sounded. So I agree with you. That was a bullshit excuse by Tuchel for a kid who's 20. What is he? 20, 21 now? Come on, shit.
No, he's 22, I think. 23.
When I was 22, dude, I could play 2 or 3 games in a row.
I think the video we're going to watch talks about how he was 23. Because I think Kirk even says that. When I was 23, a 23-year-old can't do this? Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be 23 then. Yeah. It's hard to keep up with all these ages because time is flying by. It wasn't that long ago that he was 17 and 18, That seems like yesterday to me. And Jose, thank you very much. As usual, you are awesome. Our young guys as a whole need improvement, but we also need to be patient with our players 23 or younger. On another note, shout out to the Sounders. Hopefully they pull it off at home. Haji Wright should be given a chance. I think so. A lot of topics we're going to be talking about here.
Yeah, Haji Wright needs a shot at this point. I think he needs a look. You bring him in. We don't have a solid 9.
Start with these. Start with the upcoming friendlies. Bring him in. Get a look. We still have the Nations League that you can still bring it in because you're right. We don't have a set 9 right now. I mean, Pepe and Ferreira are serviceable
favorites,
but they're not. They're not standing out. And again, I chalk a lot of that up on Berhalter. But
Pepe didn't play at all last game for Augsburg.
Yeah.
Not a minute.
Surprised.
Yeah. And then the guys that start in front of him are scoring. So,
how can you say no as a coach on that one?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what you do. You can't just say, well, every time I put you in, you don't score. And sometimes it looks like his teammates don't want to pass it to him. But I think, Haji Wright, let's be real. He's playing in a league that has gone down. They're on the downward trend right now.
Yeah.
All right. There was a time you could almost guarantee the teams at the top, Besiktas, Galatasaray, Fenerbahce, those teams aren't the powerhouses they used to be in that league. They're spending about trickly amount of money as some of the other clubs around them now. And so they're not kicking ass like they used to. So it's not a great league, but scoring is scoring. I mean, if he played like an infants league and he was scoring 20 goals a day, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I guess in fairness, it's the same argument that a lot of people make for PFOC. And I still stand firm that I think PFOC deserves or needs another chance. And just not that 20 minutes of squandered ball in Mexico.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think he needs another look. I know a lot of people are down on him because that was it should have been goal. But that would have made things a lot differently, especially going into Honduras or Costa Rica.
Well, let's not forget PFOC's performances in the Champions League too.
Sure.
Those were impressive, and those were against better teams too.
We also have to take a look at how he plays as a whole. I mean, that's a big factor. I don't think he's the same type of striker as Berhalter's winning.
No, but
he is a finisher striker. So I mean, again, maybe the last 25, 30 minutes of a game, you need a goal, put him in. Maybe.
He's the kind of guy you throw him in the box and you find his head, he'll put it in the goal. Except for the last game.
We keep saying that people are going, well, what about in Mexico?
Yep, he blew that one. There's no doubt about it. But everybody has a bad day. Just ask Wondolowski.
Jose goes, the miss was brutal, but it was such a small sample.
Yeah.
Basically
Frank Kassler. Thank you, Frank. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.
There isn't really anywhere for Pulisic to go. Bayern, no. United, you're right, no. City, no. Barca, no. I wouldn't want him to go there. Madrid, hell, no. Real Madrid, no. PSG, nah, doubt it. Especially if they keep all the forwards they got right now. They're not going to buy him. So he is stuck, unfortunately. I don't think I don't know if I use the word stuck.
Or unfortunately, I guess.
I'd say he is.
Hopefully he fights it, stays healthy and fights it, yeah.
Especially while we don't know who the new owners are going to be yet for Chelsea.
Well, and
we have
rumors,
but we don't have, anything solid.
So Tuchel came out at some point. I forgot where this came out at. But he basically said that every other major player in European soccer is going to have a foot up on Chelsea, because while they're already scouting, talking to other players, getting arrangements set up to sign people, Chelsea can't do shit until the new owners officially buy out the team.
Yeah.
So even if they wanted to offload Pulisic, say if somebody was interested, I don't see them doing that until the new owner comes in, because quite frankly, there's no way that they're going to offload any more talent. They're already going to lose the number of people they're losing.
They're already going to lose Rudiger. Rudiger's gone. So,
they're losing a number of key starters. It doesn't make any sense why they'd ever offload anybody else until they can start bringing other players in. So maybe winter could be a possibility, but I don't see many changes occurring this summer for Chelsea, if any at all, because it just depends on whenever the sale goes through.
I hear one of the people that want to get in on buying a percentage, not the whole team because he couldn't afford it, is Lewis Hamilton, who is a Formula One, of course, multiple world champion. So that'll be interesting if that happens. And it'll be interesting to see if it's like a bunch of millionaires buying the team or one giant,
Thanks again, Frank.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. Or it's, some sort of another one of these mega, like sheiks who have millions and trillions of dollars of oil money. We'll see what happens. I mean, Chelsea are an expensive company, and either way, I don't think whoever buys them is going to be as wealthy as the former owner. That would be hard to accomplish. So we'll see. Brian DeMarco. God, DeMarco. That name sounds so familiar. Anyhow, not Brian in particular, but I knew somebody named DeMarco back in the day. Anyhow.
Are you mixing up with DeFranco?
No, I'm not. What kind of joke is that? Who's DeFranco?
The YouTuber.
Oh.
Either way, regardless. God, who do they replace Rudiger with? It's a simple answer, guys. They call back Matt Miazga. Problem solved.
Well,
problem solved.
I mean, part of this punishment by the FA and England on Chelsea is meant to punish them for having a Russian oligarch as their president, and meant to make them not be able to make trades and do any business until that's worked out. It's part of the punishment. You can say it's not fair. If you're a Chelsea fan, you probably think, well, that sounds like...
Hey, EPL was perfectly fine with it up until the invasion, so...
And, maybe if this guy wasn't really good friends with Putin, I don't know if they're good friends, but I know they know each other. So maybe he's good. But, they're banning all of the Russian players from playing in Wimbledon, even the ones that say they're against the war.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like... Aren't we going to treat them as individual people? Or are we going to treat them as this scourge of... They're not Putin. They didn't make this decision. They're not driving tanks in Ukraine. I don't know how it's their fault. They're just athletes, and some of them are against the goddamn war. They've said so publicly. So seems harsh, man. But I guess we don't live. We punish all. There's no remember, there are different gradients, right? There are different levels of your involvement in the war. It's like saying every German should have been executed after World War II. No, well, not every German took part in the horrible shit. So, I don't know how you blame a 13-year-old girl for that. She didn't have anything to do with that. So, anyhow, that's getting close to some other things we don't want to deal with. So, Jose Reyes, $10 again. Thank you, my man. With our strikers, I think it's more of how Greg plays our kids. Pfalk is perfect for wide play and crosses. With Pepe, why not give him time with Ferreira? They had a great chemistry at FC Dallas. I would love to see that. In fact, I'd like to see anybody play second striker for us.
A two-striker formation. You're nuts.
Or a 10. I'll take a 10 even, I'll take a second striker, a 10, or just
anything.
Another striker. Yeah.
anything at this point. I mean, let's get a little bit of variety in there, because if you continue to play the 4-3-3, people are going to realize how to punish you on it. We saw it in CONCACAF.
Yeah, Sam seems to think in that interview with Bobby Warshaw that Greg was somehow intimating he'd like to try another formation. So I went back and listened to it again. That's not what I heard. Not what I heard. Sam heard it.
I'm hoping Sam's right here.
I listened hard, but that's not what I got from Greg at all. I did not hear him say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to try some new formations before the World Cup. He never said that. He danced around the issue.
The entire team knows the system, so you might as well take these upcoming 4 to 6 games and gamble a little bit. That's what I think.
You could. I mean, they're friendlies.
Again, it's about getting chemistry. These games are about getting chemistry together. I don't think it's necessarily chemistry in a set formation. So again, all these players have played this formation for the last year and a half. I think they might understand it to an extent. Maybe they need to work on that chemistry, and maybe they need to work on certain things. But I feel like you can do that with a different formation, just to mix things up. If anything, to mess up the opposing team scouts. I mean, I'm sure England went back and looked at a couple of games and said, "Well, we know how to defend against this shit."
Oh, I'm sure.
You know how to do this.
This is the way we play is so fucking predictable. You know, up wingers, left back, right back, bam, they shoot down the field. The midfielders protect their ass as they go up, so they're too deep to really get in the box and help. And it's the same shit over and over again. And it's really so predictable. It'd be so easy to figure out how to stop that with a low block. And it's just that a lot of the teams we played didn't necessarily. Well, Canada played a low block or a mid to low against us, and that worked. And then other teams you would have thought would have played a low block just said, no, fuck it, no, we're going at these dudes. But
again, Jose, we'd both love to see like a different formation or a 2-striker tandem or some variation of that rather than just a standard 4-3-3.
Dude,
and
yeah.
seeing Pepe and Ferreira have the history of playing together and playing well. I mean, that could be a decent tandem.
I'd love to see a 4-2-3-1, for instance. Are we going to see one? I mean, Jesse does it. Jesse plays a 4-3-3 and a 4-2-3-1, and his system works with both of those formations. At least it has for Leeds so far. So, I just don't understand. I know that Berhalter gets a lot less time with his team than Jesse has, but look how short of a time Jesse figured out Leeds and had him playing a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3 on occasions. And I mean, maybe Greg's system is just more complicated. It has more cues, or as somebody else said, triggers or something like that.
I think it was cues. I think it's what Erickson said, or Eric
Williamson.
Okay,
yeah,
I mixed them up there. Yeah, Williams said that.
David D. Wait, Canada played a low block? News to me. Well, they didn't play.
That was the best Greg Berhalter impersonation there, David. Having watched the game a second time, I realized that Canada played in a low block.
That's what he figured out in his second interview.
Yeah.
Post-game interview. So maybe that's a joke, right?
It definitely was a joke, yes.
Okay. Hey, guys, sometimes jokes just fly right over my head. So I'm going to
The problem with text and Twitter is that you can't infer intent.
There's no sarcasm detector on that shit. So
he says bingo, but it took a third viewing.
Chris Gary, thank you, Chris. We love you.
Appreciate it, man.
Greg loves the 4-3-3 like Alexi loves Zardes. Yeah. Well, I haven't heard much come out of. So here's the deal with Lawless.
Got subbed.
Lawless's
show.
I do not watch Lawless's show unless it's cut up into smaller chunks, and then I'll pick the ones I want to watch. I can't watch that whole show. It's too long. It's like an hour and 50 minutes or something like that.
Derek, every week is an hour and 35 minutes here, so we can't really. It's way too long. It's not long enough is a problem. So just watch our show.
we joke around and bullshit more here than
We
he
do,
does.
yeah.
And there is like no goddamn comedy exchange between Mossy and Lawless ever. I can't remember one. And if people know of one, let me know. Zach E, $4.99. Thank you, Zach. Where would you put Pulisic in a 5-3-2? Hypothetically speaking, of course. I would put him in as one of the twos. I'd make him a CAM. Or a second striker.
The second striker, you'd have to, because you couldn't put him in the midfield. I mean, you could put him as more of an attacking midfielder option, which is he did it in the Canada game, or was it the Honduras game?
I don't remember.
One of those games, they pushed him back into the midfield a little bit. Yeah, I mean, ideally, with a two up top, I mean, you either want to have Pulisic and somebody like Pepe, or Weah and somebody like Pepe, or maybe Pulisic and Weah. I mean, I think Weah could probably play the same role that Pepe plays.
Yeah, I think a 5-3-2, it's going to look a lot more with Greg like a 3-5-2 if he ever played it with a second striker, because I do think you're going to play three center backs and you're going to have two wingers, right? And attacking left back and attacking right back, and they're going to be going up the field. I would make Dest feel a lot better, because that way he doesn't have to worry. He's got three CBs behind him somewhere, I mean,
if our manager happens to be Tuchel, expect Pulisic to be one of the wingbacks.
That experiment didn't work, did it? Ugh, that was bad. So I'm glad that's done happening. We tried it, didn't work. So, but yeah, it's interesting to think about. I am not sure that a 3-5-2 would be our best formation. I really don't. I don't know, based on who we have. You could work it out. If I sat down and wrote it out, I could probably pick a pretty good team for a 5-3-2 or 3-5-2, and that's all semantics.
Well, again, the problem you'd come across is that some players would be on the bench that would normally be starting in a different formation. So say if you went with a Weah and Pepe up top, I mean, you push either Pulisic into the midfield or you push Reina into the midfield, but one of those would be sitting on the bench.
So
it'd be tough. I mean, it'd be tough to come up with something like that.
But if you play three center backs, that means Brooks is back in the picture, right? Because he's more than familiar with that. I mean, outside of the fact that, Greg doesn't like Brooks and has some sort of personal pepper with him. But Christian Pulisic's role with Chelsea, 2021-22 season, most goals coming off the bench.
Yeah, this is I don't know. Don't read this. We're going to be watching the video. This is about this is football Americanos.
Oh yeah, let's do that. I forgot all about the Herc thing.
Yeah.
No, I sent it to you. I sent it to you. I forget about it.
Well, okay, guys, you really need to look at our text messages, which I'll never post. But I asked Derek's like, hey, I'll just use the ESPN FC video of it. So then I put the actual title of the video in there and say, this one? And he goes, no, the one about Tuchel and Pulisic. And so then we have this back and forth for like 5 to 10 minutes. And it turns out he's talking about the same video, but we have this different take when it comes to even on our show. Derek wants to have more information on the thumbnail because he reads the thumbnails.
Yep.
And I'm about putting enough information on the thumbnails, but the whole content actually in the title. So I was reading the title. He was reading the thumbnail. And eventually I took a screenshot of it, sent him his way, and he's like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's the one.
It was a fun 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. I don't know if it's generational or it is like, the difference between the ways our brain works, because I'm like from a very creative, background, musician, artsy, blah, 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 blah. And, maybe you're an IT guy. You're more like, okay, this makes sense. And I'm like, okay,
I'm used to seeing thumbnails with almost like no text on it. So it just depends.
Well, that's the funny thing. I mean, I'll fly through thumbnails or my feed on YouTube and pick videos simply by looking at the thumbnail. That's it. That's how I do it. Doesn't always work. Sometimes I get shit I don't want, but
bunch of shark videos.
Yeah.
Scuba diving in caves.
Well, I did that on purpose.
Sad.
Yeah,
okay, real quick before we start, let's go over some of these stats because they really don't talk about them. But yeah, most goals coming off the bench in all comps, 2.
Mm-hmm.
There's only been only Ruben's been substituted more times than Pulisic.
Mm-hmm.
34% of his total minutes have come off the bench. That's a healthy chunk. A number of players have played less, but not many.
Injured for Chilwell.
A lot of them. Well, Chilwell, yeah. Kepa's not seeing the bench seeing the field anytime soon, really, for the most part.
Yeah, I know.
It was funny. I was talking to a guy. One of the teachers at my school was watching the Man U versus Chelsea game today during class. Hopefully, nobody's watching this. I won't tell you who it is.
Yes. Stay anonymous.
Yeah. But he was watching it, and I was like, man, it's funny that somebody like Kepa, who could be playing for Spain at any moment. Yeah, it's where he's from, right? Spain? He's Spain, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm not a Chelsea fan either, guys, but I would not feel comfortable with him between the pipes. He's just too hit and miss.
Yeah, he lost a lot of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Chelsea saw it. That's why they bought Mendy. They're like, this kid
what a fucking smart buy, by the way.
Yeah, no kidding. This kid's fragile, is what they learned about Kepa. So
yeah, here we are nearing the end of the season. He's got 13 goal contributions, 7 goals, 5 assists, and that's one more from last year. And he was injured for like half the season. So
yeah,
everybody's harping on him this season, saying like, "Oh, this is a bad season." Tuchel's not playing him, but he's still producing.
By the way, folks, what we're going to do to make it easier for certain people to watch some of these, because not everybody likes this format, this long format, is we're going to chop up these. We're going to keep this. This is going to be there, so you can watch the whole goddamn thing if you want. But we're going to chop up other videos into smaller topic sections. This live show, so they can watch it and they can watch the shit they're interested in, and not all the other things they're not interested in.
To use an example, here we're about to start a video, and we're going to go over the stuff with Pulisic here.
Yeah.
And we'll break this segment up when we hit play here. We introduce the video, we'll play it. But not everybody's going to want to wade through almost 40 minutes worth of video before we get to our first topic.
Well, we covered the Pulisic thing pretty well.
To an extent, yeah. I mean, yeah, but it came up. But this will condense it down.
All right, let's see what Herc has to say.
But yeah, this is in their reference. Basically, they're referencing what Tuchel has brought up about Pulisic. Not really brought up. Somebody asked him a question, but regardless, here we go.
All right, Herc. So here's a look at some statistics for Christian Pulisic. Interesting, about a third of his minutes have come off the bench. There you also see he's already topped his goal contributions from last year. We still got some games to play. A lot of those minutes off the bench, Herc, recently have been coming for Christian Pulisic. For more on that and the explanation behind it, let's listen into the Chelsea manager, Thomas Tuchel.
So just a general coverage of what we talked about prior to this.
Yep.
We talked about just the highlights more or less, but let's cover what Tuchel says.
At this period when he was on the run, when he had the confidence, when he was heavily involved up front, and Timo had to wait for many, many weeks. Now things turned around a little bit from the Southampton game, and Puli struggled a little bit since he came back from national break, where he had, I think, like 3 matches and an incredible amount of journeys and time zones to cope with. From there, he struggled a bit energy-wise. That was my impression. On and off the pitch.
So yeah, that's basically what we alluded to earlier on.
Right.
You know, just the constant moving around, flying between Mexico to where we play. What is it, Orlando? Mm-hmm. And then back to Costa Rica, and then back to England. It's a lot of flying. In his terms, it's a lot of time zones.
Mm-hmm. I get it. I get some of it.
It can affect it. And don't get me wrong, he came back and he there's a couple of games where he definitely didn't play as well as he should have.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, you can make that argument. To your point earlier, all he had to come out and say, like, hey, he's played a lot of games. I wasn't seeing the energy that I'm used to seeing, so I wanted to give him a little bit of a rest. We'll bring him in slowly, and he'll work his way back in. Especially
a guy that is injured as often as Pulisic is. You might want to treat him with a little bit of kid gloves when he comes back. Whereas Silva has there's no long history of him being injured all the goddamn time, right? So you can probably guess he'll be fine.
Mhm.
Maybe he saw the videos of Pulisic drinking Budweiser and got offended. We consider that beer. Could be, yeah, but Budweiser is a German name, so there you go. It is a German
beer.
It is a German style lager, made the American way, of course, which means it tastes like shit.
Watered down and garbage.
Yeah, bad stuff. It's unbelievable how much better German lagers are. And I'm not even a fan of lagers. Not even a fan. Like, if I go buy a beer, I'm not buying a lager. I want to taste something, So yeah.
That's why I drink IPAs.
Belgian ale. Yeah, well, that's like eating a bucket full of ass, as far as I'm concerned. I don't need all that bitterness, thank you.
You sound like an IPA, being bitter. All right, let's continue with Herc.
Right. A bucket full of ass.
All right, Herc. Is Thomas Tuchel
Offended.
blaming Christian Pulisic's international duty for his recent slip in playing time? And if so, is it time for the German manager to get lost?
It's been time to get lost, Seb. Are you serious?
Damn.
Are you trying to tell me a 23-year-old can't recover in time? He's got jet lag, but Thiago Silva, who's 38 years old, who does 11-plus-hour flights to Brazil.
Sorry, Herc, I'm not making
He's
fun of
down
you. I'm
playing
just
South
trying to be more
America.
like you guys.
Can? He's all right. No, this is Thomas Tuchel doing what Thomas Tuchel does. If you're an offensive player, only two of them have really shown that they can be in the trust circle of Thomas Tuchel. And that's Mason Mount, and that's Kai Havertz. Everybody else, Ziyech, get on out of here. Lukaku, get on out of here. Timo Werner, get on out of here. Oh, Hudson-Odoi, are you even around? Christian Pulisic,
He
you're
wasn't
out
in the
as well.
18.
This is what he does. He makes these players feel uneasy. He makes them wait. And Christian Pulisic has been through this before. Not just here. He's been through it at Dortmund with them. This is par for the course for Thomas Tuchel. If you're telling me this is the reason, come on, man. This is a cop-out.
Yeah.
You didn't like what you saw. Just say it. I don't like what I saw. It has nothing to do with international duty. I don't trust him in this moment. There are others ahead of him. Whatever you want. But don't blame the transatlantic flights and jet lag.
Herc killed it there.
Yeah, he did.
Killed it.
It's a sorry excuse. And if it's true that Pulisic was tired after all that, then that's on Pulisic, honestly. He should not be out of shape. He should not be tired or exhausted or whatever. He's 20, in his 20s. Come
22,
on.
23, yeah, I think it's 23.
So, yeah, I don't think if I were Tuchel, that's the reason I would have given. That's
Well, and again, Herc brings up the point, and you brought it up earlier. Just flat out say, hey, he came out flat. We're putting somebody else in.
Yeah.
He'll get his minutes eventually, and he'll work his way back in. I mean, it's what Pulisic does there. I'm not saying that that's how Pulisic plays, but periodically there will be bad games. Tuchel will try somebody else. Somebody else will hit fire, and then Pulisic will work his way back eventually.
Nobody's safe in that lineup except for maybe Rudiger and Mendy. Everybody else,
those are the only two that have been basically playing all season. Outside that, Kai Havertz and Mount were roughly about the other ones that were like about 1,800 minutes.
But even Mount went through a little period there where he wasn't
Havertz
starting.
went out where he wasn't playing.
That's correct.
It happened. No players. You're right. No players outside of Mendy and Rudiger were safe.
Yeah, and Ziyech, he starts, then he doesn't, then we don't see him for weeks, and then he comes back and plays and starts. You're like, what the fuck's going on?
Well, he brought up Hudson-Odoi because Hudson-Odoi wasn't even in the lineup this week.
I know.
Against Man U.
And so it's weird. It's almost like Tuchel gets out of bed and has a dartboard of players' names on it. He just tosses 11 of them. And he tosses 9 of them because he's already got a dart stuck in Mendy and stuck in Rudiger before he starts tossing,
I think he's got like a Wheel of Fortune wheel.
Or something like that, yeah. A wheel for each position. It's like right back. There's the 4 guys.
I need 2 strikers. Go.
What formation am I going to play today? All right, 3-5-2 or something.
1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1-1.
Yeah, it's the most erratic manager.
That's that really tiny spot of like bankrupt. Like you're never going to get it, but if you do get it, you got to run with it.
Well, yeah, when you go to like transfer market, and it always has when you go to there and you look for managers because you want to study all their
Roboting, Derek.
Formation
Formation.
and who they whatever. Yes?
You're here.
You can
You're
hear
all
me?
right. Let's roll. Keep going.
Oh, geez. Okay.
All right. Jose
The
says
fuck?
Foley wasn't tired.
Yeah.
Even in his bad games, you can't say energy isn't there trying. That's BS. Basically, he's saying that the energy's there, maybe the performance isn't. But again, don't come out saying like, he was flying around a lot, played in games in many countries.
Am I back?
Uh-oh. You're back now, yes. Can you hear me?
Jesus, what the hell happened?
Derek. All right. Well, let's continue with this while we wait for Derek to return.
Lag.
Yeah, if the issue here is, did the international window cost Christian Pulisic his starting job? I think
difficulties.
the answer has to absolutely be yes. We just have to look at the stats for that. The 7 games before the international window, he started. Sorry,
Are you sure about that?
Before the international window.
Are you sure about that?
Sorry, let me get this right.
8
games before the international window, he started 5.
Okay.
The 7 games since, he started just 1. So clearly, the international window was the difference there.
It's a fun stat to talk about. I mean, you starting a lot just before you go on the window, window for the qualifier, and then you come back after the window and you start like 1 and 7 or whatever the fuck he said. It's a fun one to talk about because it does kind of make sense that maybe the window did play a factor there. Maybe he came out a little flat. I don't know. Yes, Chris, I did banish him to the Shadow Realm. Oh. He'll be back, I'm sure. If he has to restart his computer, we'll see him back in about 10 minutes. Hopefully people are clocking this.
I guess my question is, Herc, is it fair? I was always under the understanding that there was kind of an unspoken rule, right? You go off on international duty. If you're a starter, you don't necessarily lose your job for leaving on international duty. But then I was talking to Shaka Hislop on ESPN FC today, and he's like, nah, that's not really how it works. So maybe we can't fault Tuchel for that. What I would say here, though, is I am worried about Christian Pulisic because you see a player score a goal and you think, oh, all right, that means he's going to get more starting minutes. But we know Tuchel doesn't see it like that, right? He sees the comfort of what happened and the confirmation of what happened. I put this guy in the 90th minute, like I always used to do, and he delivered like a super sub. I don't necessarily think that goal is going to.
All right, so Seth brings up a great point here. And this is something that Tuchel brought up early on in his tenure with Chelsea. And he talked about how he always, maybe it's the curse of being, of having coached Pulisic at a younger age, but maybe he thinks that Pulisic is nothing more than just a super sub.
I hope not.
And now, since then, of course, he's started a number of games and he's played well and everything like that. So I don't think he's necessarily thinking that anymore, but there's still that thought process like, well, he's not performing as well. I'll bring him in late as a game changer. And then it's a number of games where he does that. And I'm hoping that changes. But then again, we saw it today against Man U. He didn't start. He got like 20 minutes.
Yep.
So
that was my internet connection.
I vamped. I went ahead a couple minutes here on the show. So we're good.
Okay, good.
All right, let's continue on.
I was able to get a refill while
He
reconnecting.
starts in the Champions League. He plays 2 games against Lille. He scores in both games. And Thomas Tuchel, doesn't see that performance and go, you know what? Maybe I should start him more. But now because he sees him score off the bench, you're telling me he's going to stick with that and say, I got to sub him more. He's going to be my super sub. That's his go-ahead. That's his train of thought there. I'm not buying it. This is Thomas Tuchel. This is what he does. He did it with Lukaku. He's doing it with Lukaku. How do you spend that much money on a player, over $100 million transfer fee on a player, and let him go to waste like that? You don't think it's going to do it with Christian Pulisic? I mean, Timo Werner, when he came over from Leipzig, did the same thing. Ziyech, when he comes over from the Eredivisie, he does this with players. This has nothing to do with Christian Pulisic, everything to do with Thomas Tuchel. You look at Christian Pulisic's numbers, goals and assists per minutes played. I guarantee you it's up there with the best in the Premier League. I guarantee you per 90 minutes played, it's up there. This is Thomas Tuchel and him
just
doing what
behind
Thomas Tuchel
Mount,
does.
like you mentioned earlier.
You mentioned guys like Lukaku. You mentioned guys like Werner. I feel like those were way more form things. I don't know that you can necessarily, as clearly anyway, point to Christian Pulisic's form here.
Love the candor back and forth between them.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's the great thing about that show. There's a lot of disagreements, and you can tell, man, they've had some long nights of arguing with one another at the bar somewhere, But I think the thing about Tuchel, and I'm not going to generalize how all Germans are, because that's not fair. But one of the things how Klopp, for instance, is so different from Tuchel. Like, Klopp is emotionally connected with his players. You can tell that, And Tuchel's more of an old school German guy. There's not a lot of emotion. Yeah, he'll pump his fist when they score or whatever, but it doesn't seem like he's like a player kind of guy. Like, oh, I got to make you feel good. I don't think a lot of players on that team get compliments, honestly.
When looking through for thumbnails, 90% of them is either him stern looking or doing the what.
Yeah.
Not many of them going woo or anything like that,
I mean, you see Klopp, he'll run out and hug his players and shit and, give them love. And I just think he knows how to, in a very un-German way, in some ways. I'm German. I had a grandfather. He was like old school German. So I know what that's like.
There.
Whereas Klinsmann is more like, Tuchel. Like, it's emotionally, So I think that's something we haven't considered really, is like not every German coach,
the personality of the
is
coach
going to be the kind of guy you want coaching, let's say, a very emotional team. Which I'm not saying Chelsea is, but people do have emotions. But Tuchel does not give a fuck about your emotions and how you might have hurt feelings because you're not starting for 3 games. I mean, how long did Werner burn the fucking bench this season for stretches?
Seriously.
He's like,
in fairness, he had shit production
exactly
up until relative recently.
Yep.
So,
he's like, dude, you are flat. You're out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Off topic. What does CCZ have to do? Best CB in Scotland, Celtic Player of the Year, in the Team of the Year. No, Greg, rather choose a player that has piano strings in his Achilles. Who's that referring to? Who's got?
Say you're killing us here.
who has the piano strings in their Achilles? I don't know who that would be.
Regardless, I think he's asking what does CCV have to do to get on Greg's radar. That's my interpretation of this, because
little Yankee. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe walk his dog at least 10 times. You're good.
Yeah, I mean,
don't punt it.
I don't know. He might get
there it is right there. Bill named it. You got it.
Long. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there it is,
right.
Jose. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I was going through all the players. I'm like, McKennie, no. Zimmerman, no. He's fine. This guy's fine. This guy's fine. And I'm like, I never even got to Long yet. But Long is one of Berhalter's favorites. So.
But I mean, what did Celtic place a bid for him for CCV, or did that go through? Is he now a Celtic player?
No, it's not.
I thought I read recently. Maybe there's just a bid placing, because I know that there were a lot of Celtic fans saying,
there's negotiations.
Really stoked about the possibility.
There's negotiations going on. They can't do anything until the window, which is coming soon. So yeah, you got the summer window coming, right? So something's going to happen there, but Celtic want him permanently. And I think that's a good move for him. It really is. Although I'm going to be surprised if none of the sort of up-and-coming promoted championship teams go after a player like him. That would be surprising if no one did that. So
I think there's enough interest in EPL from what I've seen that I don't think Celtic will necessarily get him. And again, nothing against Celtic, but if he has any ambitions to being on the national team, he needs to play against better competition.
Yeah, even if it's a lower half table team in the Premier League, he needs to start showing it there. So if you could make 2 permanent changes to soccer in the U.S., what would they be? Whoa, that's a huge question. 2 permanent changes to soccer.
I would have kept MLS 2 in USL.
What does that mean?
I would not have done the MLS Next Pro. I would have kept the MLS 2 in USL
Yeah.
so that they can play grown-ass men.
Yeah.
Rather than playing a bunch of 23-year-olds and under. I mean, at that point, it's just nothing more than just an older academy team.
I mean, you look at teams like New York City FC's 2 team. It's made up of a bunch of fucking teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're going to be playing other teenagers. How's that going to do them any good? At least in USL, they're playing goddamn grown men with hair on their testicles.
Even with Chicago's team, a number of their 2 team is just the 23 through 30 roster spots. They're just pushed over to the 2 team as well.
And most of them are teenagers.
So that's one big thing I would change is I would absolutely keep them in USL so that way they can play some grown ass men with hair on the balls.
Yeah, huge. I would also have required exactly. I would have required. I think this would have been great. The cap to go up every year, unless there's an emergency or something. I would like to see MLS.
I thought it did.
No, the cap doesn't go up far enough for me. I'm
okay.
sorry.
Well, let's specify because I was pretty sure that it keeps going up to a certain point before the next CBA agreement. But yeah, okay, you're saying it's not going up as quickly as it should.
It's not fast enough for me. I mean, I do like the way that Garber got around all those stingy owners like Kraft by saying, okay, well, you won't let me raise the fucking, the bar here on the cap. Well, then I'll just make up some funny shit called Tam and Gam, and we'll get around your stingy asses because, Garber is right there with like the Seattle owners, a lot of the newer owners who are willing to spend money, but those old cringy guys that started the league, I'll give them credit for starting the league. Okay. But they're in the way. They don't want the cap to go up much. So yeah, Chris, the thing about Pro Rel at this point, as far as I understand it, there is no limit right now on how many teams that MLS want in MLS. Like they like that 600
might as well keep it going up and up.
They like the 300 mil entry fee and the required, stadium by a certain time, unless you're NYCFC.
I mean, the only way that you're going to get the owners on board with Pro Rel is if you guarantee them a return on their investment. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
you're more likely to see Pro Rel at the USL stage and on.
Yeah, but let's say there's 40 teams in MLS. Let's go look down into the future, and there are 40 teams in MLS.
A makeshift MLS 2, if you will.
That pretty much covers every goddamn major city in the United States.
Well, it covers one per state.
So it's like that's a huge lead.
By no means do I think. No offense to people from Montana, but I don't think MLS needs to be in Montana by any means. I mean, there's like 4 people that live there.
Yeah,
that's a lot. I mean, saying a lot coming from a guy from Indiana, but still.
With all these owners plopping $300 million down or more going forward in the future to get their club into MLS, that's a massive investment to make. That's massive. You have to have some sort of guarantee that you're going to stay in the league. Now, what you could do when you got 40 teams, you could do MLS 1 and MLS 2 and have Pro Rel between those two 20 team. But I don't see that happening. I think they're just going to keep going to 40 and keep pocketing the money. And then if you got 40 teams in the league, I mean, who's going to get left out? Poughkeepsie? Some small town in Montana, as you said, Brett? Biloxi can't get promoted anymore. Biloxi, Louisiana, they're FC.
All right, we'll come back to you, Jose, real quick. Hey, Indiana's in the top half of state for population. I know it was kind of a joke, just because a lot of people consider the quote unquote flyover states. But yeah, Indiana, for being as rural as it is, there's a healthy amount of population in a number of cities.
Indianapolis is not a small city. I'm sorry.
We're one of the top non-seaboarding, or I guess water. I don't want to say waterboarding.
We don't have a port.
We don't have a port. Well, we do have Indiana does have a port,
No, not
But
Indianapolis doesn't have
Indianapolis
a port.
does not have a port. Yeah,
right.
no
right.
bodies of water. It's not. It's like one of the largest cities, not on a body of water.
Yeah,
Unless you consider the White River a body of water, which it's not.
It's like a stream. It's barely a river. You know, it's so low. Yeah, I don't know how that's a river. I guess if you get 40 teams in, including Indianapolis, and I could name some other major cities that don't have a big time team in MLS yet. I mean, you got 40. How many more cities do you need? And if MLS wants to do it, they could go to 48. Fuck it. They don't care.
Got a lot of Indiana fans here.
Indiana.
Kevin lives in Indiana near Lake Michigan. That's pretty cool. Love that area, by the way.
It's cold during the winter, though.
We've got the Colts and the Pacers. True. We could handle MLS. Absolutely could.
Absolutely, we could. Yes. We could
Jose Lopez says, Indiana, I drive by, don't even stop for gas. Why? We've got really cheap gas here compared to the rest of the country.
Yeah, exactly.
For that $1.99, you could get almost half a gallon.
Yep, exactly.
It's about a half gallon actually right now. Oh man.
Yeah,
Jose says lower the cost to play youth soccer.
Thanks, Jose.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
That should happen. There should be more of an investment into youth soccer. We are seeing that at the MLS level. We're seeing every team practically has a youth program now that goes all the way down to like U9s or U7s. It's crazy. So we've come a long ways, folks. A long ways.
I do want to specify. Not only does MLS have almost free academies all the way down to like U8, U9 area. Yeah. But USL teams are also kicking in an academy team. So I mean, it's happening, guys. The development's going to be there, and sooner or later, we're going to be world contenders.
We're already reaping the rewards of the earlier teams that decided to do youth development, like FC Dallas. And New York Red Bulls. I mean, we're profiting from that. We're getting Tyler Adams out of that. We're getting Pepe out of that. We're getting Che. There's all kinds of.
We got Miaz.
Yeah, that didn't work out so well.
All right. If Zardes, Bobby Wood, and Sargent were all shooting loads of shots at the keeper, who do you think would score most?
Loads.
Zardes, Wood.
This sounded like a circle jerk question for a second. Can you bring it back up? Bring it up. Don't kill it.
Hold on. I was asking, who do you got? I mentioned the names multiple times.
I didn't listen to you. I didn't hear what you said. I was busy thinking about the circle jerk thing. All right. Zardes, Bobby Wood, and Sargent. If they were shooting loads of shots at the keeper, from where? I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that Sargent would score the most goals.
Yeah, that's my take on it too. Outside the fact he's not really producing as much as you would hope at Norwich, the kid still has a shot. So I think if we're going to chalk it up, I mean, the problem is that you don't know what body part the ball is going to come off of Zardes. Wood doesn't really even score at MLS.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, Bobby Wood's fine. He was once a very good player. If he can get motivated and stay healthy and start scoring bushels of goals in MLS, he'll get another shot. Yeah. Zardes, to me, he's done. He's been done. And, he was really good.
He hasn't been included.
He's really good.
He just got transferred over to Colorado. Yeah. I think he's done.
He's a top-end goal artist. All right. So if he were shooting, if they had to all take these shots from just outside the box, Zardes would finish in dead fucking last. Dead last. Dead last.
Nate says Zardes only allowed to kick it off his
face.
So, Derek.
Yeah.
Are you aware
that
ESPN has announced their top 39 U21 players?
I am aware of that because I believe I sent you the article or the link.
I know. I needed the transition into where we're going next.
Oh, okay. Because I had forgotten all about it. I was in that stupid fucking commercial song. I'm a Gainiac, on check my drawers. It's still stuck in my fucking head.
You can't even get it.
They're winning. They're winning this game in my head. Oh, so all right.
I've seen this before.
All right,
so ESPN comes up with their top 39 U21 players.
Who was this?
Derek sends this to me, and he says, not a single fucking U.S. men's national team player on there.
Well, the reason I said that was I watched a video earlier with the author, and he didn't bring up any of the American players, so I just figured they weren't on the list. So, what's his name? Sigfrid Jornsson or something like that?
Was he in the video that was above?
No.
Yeah, I didn't understand a single word he said either.
Yeah. So I watched some small little, and he never mentioned any American players, so I just assumed we got fucked on this list. But we didn't. We didn't.
It strikes me funny that Hudson-Odoi is listed as 39 here. When was the last time he played for Chelsea? I don't recall.
Yeah. Well, he's
not saying that he's not talented. I'm just saying
he needs to get the fuck out of Chelsea or get away from Tuchel. So I think a lot of English fans are pissed off about that too. Even some Chelsea fans are pissed off about it. Like, where is this guy? Why didn't he ever get to play? What's going on? But
Kevin, don't ruin it for everybody else.
What?
He said which three made it.
Oh, well, let's go down. Let's start matriculating. Tino Livramento. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's a 100% thing going to be happening. It could. It's a really interesting name for someone who's supposedly English. So
I guess the problem is I didn't go around looking at other U21s that weren't listed here. So there are some names that I recognize, some names I don't. So I don't follow Southampton enough to know who this is.
I think I've seen him play one time.
Yeah.
So, and I occasionally run into him on the old U21 games and U23 U21s. I think so. Serginho Dest. That seems
could have got a better picture of him.
A little low. I think it's hard to get a good picture of Serginho Dest. No offense to him, but
I mean, he doesn't look.
He always has that look on his face, kind of like I don't give a fuck, So there's that. Okay, that's fine. Jeremy Doku. It seems so to be such a high ranking for him. I know what he's doing at Rennes, but I don't know. It's this guy's list. He can, I guess, slap against the wall anybody he wants. Fabio Vieira, FC Porto. I have not seen him play. I've never seen this guy play, so I can't even criticize it. I comment on it. Never seen him play.
Look at that. They even list the number of players. Where are we?
England.
4th on the list.
That's unreal. Is that not unreal? When was there ever a time when the top under 21 players by nationality, we would be in 4th?
Tied for 4th, but still we're tied with Germany and Brazil.
But that's absurdly awesome.
That's crazy.
For my lifetime, I'm sorry, others are spoiled. They've been watching all these youngsters. Now
back in my youth, I was just happy to have 3 stars in Europe.
I had to have
players who were consistently playing.
I had to have German relatives send me, tape it on their tape system.
Mm-hmm.
Then we mailed them a VHS, which they converted into their power system, and they would then take their recording of the games that Gio's dad played, Claudio Reyna, and put them on a VHS and then mail them to him. And I got to watch fucking him play. It's crazy. That we don't have that problem anymore. We can watch.
Interesting.
Players.
Tino here apparently is on loan from Chelsea.
So that's a problem for him down the line.
Well,
right?
I mean, Chelsea can't necessarily make transfers until they make their sell.
So he might get a chance.
So you might see him come up.
You might, because if
all hands on deck.
Yeah, exactly. Brendan Aronson at 34. I think that's a little low, but okay, I get it. He's not a guy that'll just beat 3 or 4 players like Pulisic or something like that, but he is always in the right spot, and he's really good at getting to the places where he needs to be.
Do you think that's a little high?
I don't think so.
Because if you say low, I mean, he's any higher from where he's at now, he's practically off the list.
I know what I'm saying. He needs to be further down this list. As
So
we
you're
go.
saying it's too high. He needs to be lower on the list. Because we're
So
going down to 1.
I consider his rating here low.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
We're talking about 2 different things here. Because you're saying he needs to have a lower score. He needs to be like in the 20s is what you're saying.
Visual learner, technically very different for me, Brett.
Hold on. What number is this?
It's 34.
What number do you think he could be?
I think he's in the 20s.
So do you think 34 is lower than the 20s?
I think he's too low on this list.
So he's too high. Okay.
His rating.
You're talking about skill level when you say low and high there.
His rating is too low here.
He is too high is what you're saying on the list. You need to be down
He's
lower.
only high on this list because it starts from the bottom to the top.
Go down to 1 and start there if you'd be happy.
No, I don't give a shit. It's just, this is not the difference than the way our brain works. How many times do you get a text from me? You're like, what a fucking dipshit.
5 to 10 minutes, and we eventually come to the same conclusion, but it's just how we get there.
And then how many times do you give me a response and I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? You know, it happens all the time.
You watch it, Jose. You watch it.
Jesus Christ, this conversation. Oh, we didn't get to read it, right?
Well,
makes less sense than my tweet. What?
Nothing makes less sense than that tweet, Jose. Sorry.
What was the tweet?
Christ, is that one you read just a second ago?
Oh, well,
I'm not going to pull it back up.
Yeah, fuck it. Let's keep going down the list.
All right.
Eric Garcia.
Garcia.
Great. Yeah, fine.
Hmm.
I do like Hincapi. I really do. I think he's a future star. He might be too low here, too, for Leverkusen.
Too high.
Yeah. He's going to make that fucking Ecuador national team, though, for sure. Crystal Palace, Mark. I've never seen this guy play. If I have, I didn't notice. He might be really good.
Well,
I don't know.
This is the problem I've got with when it comes to, because I don't follow a specific league. I don't have a team that I'm just diehard in Europe to follow, and I know all the players they play against. I follow teams that have players from the U.S. So, like, I watch a lot of Norwich games.
Yep.
And I know a lot of the players from the Norwich team. I know a lot of players from the Chelsea team.
Me too.
I could not tell you a single player from Crystal Palace.
I couldn't either. I mean,
Why?
one. I could do 2. Actually.
I couldn't do 1.
And it's just because, yeah, if I'm watching Crystal Palace because they're playing Chelsea or they're playing Norwich City, and I'm more interested in, you know, what Josh Sargent's doing and what Pulisic's doing. That's what I'm focused on, right? And so there are teams I love. You know, I love Fulham, but they got Americans.
I love Lamp.
Yep. You love Juventus.
I like Juventus, and I've been a bigger fan since Weston went there. And we're going to get into this, guys. I even made a comment on Twitter today. It was like, man, if Weston does go to Atletico, I may have to get rid of Paramount because there's no reason for me to watch it, especially with Venezia going to Serie B. So
yeah, they're definitely.
Why would I
going
pay
to
for
Serie B.
Paramount? Why would I pay for Paramount at that point?
Yeah, man, it really sucked when they lost Nani. That hurt him. When he went down injured, that was it. So.
Nate, you bring up Zaha, and I do know him from.
That
Crystal,
was one of my 2 players. Yes,
but seriously,
I know.
I don't watch Crystal. I couldn't tell you a single player now. I mean, outside of Zaha now.
I used to know their old manager because he was former manager of Fulham. So there you go. But he's not there anymore. So
Chris, I understand your point with Champions being on Paramount, but all the games play before I get home, and on top of that, we always end up covering them literally that night when they do it. So just. I don't really get to sit down and watch any Champions League games.
yeah, I got to tape a lot of them. So it's unfortunate. I try to catch every Chelsea one. For obvious. So, all right, let's keep going. Jacob Ramsey, is that a brother? The other Ramsey? I wonder if they're related. Aaron Ramsey's brother. I don't know. Kareem Adeyemi. Yeah, I mean, he's been.
It's pretty good for Salzburg.
Yeah, pretty impressive moments. It's crazy how many good players there are on Salzburg. They're going to do.
Is the Austrian League on any streaming services?
I thought it was. I I feel like I've watched a game on ESPN Plus before.
I think it must be few and far between because I don't think I ever see any of them.
No,
I really only catch the highlights, and I know enough about him
Yeah.
from the highlights to say that, yeah, he's pretty damn good right now.
It's unfortunate that I got to do most of my research on Aronson by watching the highlights of the games. It
Pretty
just
much.
gives me not the full picture.
It has to be streamed somewhere because it's Dispossessed ends up posting some of Aronson's every touches. So
Yeah.
clearly he's got access somewhere. But I guess you could always find something on Sailing the Seven Seas.
Now, I think you can buy a subscription on their website, Salzburg's website,
Maybe.
to watch every single game
That's
if you're
a lot, though.
out of country. Yeah.
I think Sailing the Seven Seas, I think, would probably be the easiest option. Lance says Aronson is way better than him.
I agree.
Adeyemi?
To me, Aronson's the heart and soul of that team. But
Absolutely.
that's me.
I think so. But again, I'm stressing it only off of Champions League games, which I did catch on Paramount.
Yes,
And
we did get to watch those. So,
and
Yep.
the highlights.
yep. All right, let's keep going down here. So after this, we're going to get into the fact that you were attacked by Weston McKennie's dad today, verbally. That'll be fun to talk
I think
about.
it was a snarky response, and I loved it. I thought it was great.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
get to it.
keep going. Yeah,
All right, yeah.
yeah,
That dude right there.
yeah.
This guy over here.
Him. Yeah, fine.
Hugo.
Man, I think this is way premature, but okay, fine. I've watched some Rennes games. Kalulu. I don't really remember watching. I've watched Juventus versus AC Milan, but I don't remember him playing that game. So I don't know. Maybe he's good, but I didn't notice.
David answers your Ramsey question.
Yeah, one is Welsh. I know Ramsey's Welsh, but I do believe Ramsey was also, well, maybe I'm wrong about that. I thought he could play for either country.
Could be from another
Jacob
mother, you know?
Lindsay is, yeah.
I didn't
Well-
want to say it, but whatever.
Okay. Obviously, I don't know Jacob Ramsey from a hole in the wall. So
I mean,
there
we
you
saw
go.
a picture of him.
It was too small up here. I couldn't see that shit.
That's right.
Was he? I didn't go back up. I thought,
What
it was,
number was
I
Christ
thought he was a
almighty.
white guy. Yeah, I don't know. Wow, okay. That's too small. That's why I couldn't say. So small I could not tell. So there you go. That's how little I've seen of Jacob Ramsey. That's why we skipped over him so fast. It's like, I don't know who the fuck that is. Kalulu, then Nico Gonzalez. Again, I feel like so many of these are premature, but this guy's probably doing his research. So
Maybe he's just really tan.
well, there's no way that tiny
that's one-
thumbnail was
That's
gonna let
one
me
thing
know.
the Welsh are known for is their tanning ability. I mean, historically speaking,
Charles. Yes. Well, he's doing a whole lot better than our model kid there. Otis Sally.
I think
That's for
Horvath
sure.
did better.
I don't know. I think Otis Sally might be done, folks. I don't know. Looks
Is he on
like
this list?
premature declination of a player because of his inability to focus on not modeling but playing soccer.
Yeah.
Jasko Gorvidiol. Yeah, I watch a lot of RB Leipzig. I just don't remember hearing his name a lot. Am I missing something? Does he play for Leipzig a lot?
Well, it was just as of last summer, so I mean, this would have been the only season you know him from.
Yeah, because I just don't.
Maybe
remember.
I missed. There obviously were a number of games where Adams was MIA, and so
He
was
wasn't
I watching
today.
the game.
He went 90. He went 90 today.
That's good.
By the way, Adams. And then
He's
this
our boy.
is so goddamn low. There is no way he's just 21 on this list. He should be in the top 10. I think he's one of the best talents out there. And maybe I'm biased. I watch every game he plays. Okay.
I think the 5 months of injury plus the tacking on the last 2 months probably plays a factor in it. He saw the promise, which is why he's on the list, but he hasn't really been able to perform because he's been injured, and I think that may have hurt him on this list. I think if he had the entire season, say if he didn't get injured, I think he'd be much lower / higher.
Yeah, and I think his estimated value would be in the 80 millions instead, honestly, if he got to play every game. Yeah, whatever. Hungary gets a good player. That'd be good for them because they've been not very good for a very long time. Martinelli, Brazil. Yeah, I guess, we'll see how that works out.
We're going to quickly go through a lot of these because I think about 10 are probably the ones we can really go on about outside of our own. But
Listen, another player that
a lot of Arsenal kids here.
Gotten some time, but I mean, give it a break. I don't think it's not like if Reina was healthy, he's starting every game for Dortmund. Period. End of story. I can't say that about a lot of these guys.
I think a lot of people are talking about with when it comes to Gio. There are a number of people who mentioned the injuries. Injuries.
Yeah.
So
I get it.
A lot of people take that into consideration, I guess.
And I know this author gave him demerits for being injured all the time, so it makes sense. Who do we got left? Isn't Reina the top one we got?
For US, yes. That's why I say we're just going to scroll down
Just
to
keep
the top
scrolling
10.
down. I mean,
yeah, Rodrigo, yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I understand why he's that.
He's a good player.
He's doing well at
doesn't spell his name right, but other than that, Gravenberch.
What's
maybe
Graven?
Is Birch.
The Dutch known for their birch?
Julian Timber. Not really. No. Not root beer is not their thing. All right. Yeah, keep going down. All right, I think we're done. Kavinga, yeah, Gavi, got it. Yeah. I mean, all the obvious ones. Alonso Davies.
ESR Davies.
Yeah, that's good for Canada that he's up there. Wow. That's high.
9's a little rough.
You think it should be higher?
I think it should be further towards the lower numbers of
should he have a better ranking, I should say.
Yeah, there you go. Let's go with that.
All right. Let's do that.
Here we are nearing the end of this conversation, and we'll finally come to a middle ground here.
I don't know how you could
Saka,
rate. Yeah, Saka's great. The guy above him from Bayern Munich, I don't know how you could rate him that high yet, unless you've been watching all his games. So I don't know.
There you go. Flip flop. Him with Davies. There you go. Davies should be 7.
Yep. Saka's going to be a star. Vinicius Jr. is a fucking rock star already.
This is what I wanted to rush down to, basically. I think this has too high or too good of a rating.
Way too high. I'm sorry. There's no way he's 4 on this list. That is way high. There's no way Jude Bellingham is better than Vinicius Jr. I'm not buying that.
Sir, definitely good for Dortmund and all. He's definitely turned it up this season. But 4th?
I mean, I don't know how many games this guy's watched. Jude Bellingham has had some shit games this season for Dortmund. Shit.
I wouldn't have said 4th.
Phil Foden, that's about right. This seems like a little bit of English bias, by the way, to have Bellingham that high. Pedri, I mean, we're always going to love the Spanish youth players. It gets a little old because they've had so many storied. Remember when Bojan was the fucking next Messi? That didn't work out, did it? Didn't even work out in MLS for him. Well, John, that was not a success. But this is correct.
Yeah.
Erling Haaland is the most bestest 21-year-old out there. There's no doubt about it.
I was talking with the teacher about Haaland, and one of his students came up to him, was like, who is also a Man U fan, because he's a Man U fan. He's like, we still have a chance to get Haaland. He's like, dude, there's no chance we're going to get him. His father's career was ended due to a Man U player. Yeah, there's no way in hell that he's ever going to go to Man U.
I don't know. Money talks.
I think there's enough money elsewhere that there's no way. I don't think Man U is going to open their pocketbooks that much.
I think Man City can outbid anybody.
Absolutely, yes.
So
just buy by the fucking continent.
Everybody's already talking like he's already going there. So,
Well, I mean, given the connection to Man City, I could see that being, along with the money, being a big contender.
yeah, I mean,
you're guaranteed one of the top teams in England. You're going to definitely be Champions League contenders. I mean, God, just imagine what he's going to do when you throw him on a team like Man City.
If Reina had stayed healthy, there was like a real possible chance that Man City would have gone out and bought Haaland and Reina. Honestly.
Well, and Dortmund's come out and flat out stated that Reina is their long-term player goal to replace Reece. So,
well, good luck on that one, guys. Newcastle are going to
have to pony up for that one. Shit.
Newcastle's going to have a lot of money. There is no doubt. But like Man City, when they finally had a gazillionaire owners, it's going to take a while for certain players to trust the organization and say, all right, I'll sign for you. Like, I'll sign for you, but, you know, I got to have some sort of assurance we're going to make Champions League because I'm used to playing in Champions League. I know you're throwing a lot of money at me, but I'd rather go to Man City or some other team than Newcastle. Newcastle's going to have a load of money to spend, but the question is, what players can they convince that if they go there, there's a history, there's going to be a going forward, there's going to be progress, and they're going to be playing a Champions League.
Yes,
that's the challenge.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you looked at when Chelsea and Man City were all bought out by billionaire owners. It wasn't an instant flip. I mean, there were still decent enough mid-table teams or good teams, but it took a couple of years for it to finally get to where they're at now.
I'd say 3 or 4.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they signed a couple stars, and they got better, got a new manager, big time manager.
Turn me into a newt.
And
better.
They slowly got better. That's a good reference. Yeah, so it's not going to happen overnight. Newcastle's going to struggle. They're going to sign 2 or 3 players. They're going to steal them from, like, I don't know, Milan or Marseille or Nantes or Lille, and they'll try to build, but it's not going to happen overnight. I don't think there are going to be a lot of really top flight players who are like, yeah, I'll go play for you. Because Newcastle, despite, the money, they're just getting in this game, right? And so, and for a while there, it looked like they were going to be, demoted, relegated. So, all right. You want to get to that, or we have more questions? Or
real quick, Feral Among Us says Haaland to City with Gio following a couple of years. That's what he's predicting.
I'd love it.
Yep. Let's cover this really quick.
So we got. I hear that Wales may get the Welsh, English, Italian tri-national Lou Brickett from Genoa. Brickett. Or is that Brissant? He's supposed to be a pretty decent CM and could cause us problems. Have you guys ever tried bukkake sauce? It goes great with hot dogs.
Derek, say that name again.
Lou Brissant.
Okay, sure.
I mean, he's Italian, right? That's how they would pronounce the double C. Brissant.
I think he's going with the English or the Welsh version of it. It's Lou Brickent. Yeah,
I know. Trust me.
I know.
Lou Brickent.
And once again, you did not mention Mitch's name. He spent all this time to come up with a nice name for you.
Does he, Mitch?
And you just won't say it.
I know. My bad. Eileen Yelick.
Okay.
If Eileen's name had, if her name was Over Yelick, then you're even better, right? Eileen Over Yelick. Even better. If you can make her last name Over Yelick, even better. Like Over Dash Yelick.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Or Dover Dash Yelick.
There we go.
Eileen Dover Yelick. I don't know. I love that these guys are still coming at us with these things because unlike Pete, we noticed them 99% of the time. There was one time we didn't, but
No, we got that one.
Pete gets bombarded by these all the time, and he misses them. It's great.
So, Derek, the biggest news that has come out this week.
What, you got spanked by McKennie's father on
no.
Twitter? Yeah, you did though.
You got such a loose term of spanking, man.
He gave you a little spank. You got it, Matt.
No.
He came at you and went whack on the butt, and he said, "Brett, you're wrong. You're spreading misinformation." That's what he said, right?
Fake news. No. The big news, Derek, is that McKennie. It's a silly season, so McKennie might be on his way out of Juventus yet again.
Oh, I'm so sick of these stupid rumors.
So the rumor has it that Juve are very hell-bent on having
Murata.
Murata. Thank you. I was mixing his first name with his last name.
I like the way you said "jank you" instead of "thank you."
Trying to jank it. So they're really hell-bent on keeping Murata, but they're not willing to spend that $35 million that Atletico wants. They've reached out and said, "Hey, we'll offer you $20 million." They said, "Nah, bro. Nah, not going to take it. Not going to happen."
How about that money plus McKennie?
Yep. Not even that money. Probably a little less of that money plus a McKennie is what the rumors indicating.
Juventus would be so fucking stupid to do that.
Why would they want to keep Murata? I mean, come on. I know I'm probably butchering the actual proper pronunciation of his name.
No, Murata. It's Murata.
Murata. I'm not rolling my R enough, I guess.
Murata. Yeah. All right.
But I mean, why would they want to keep him? He's been an under 10 goal contributor to Juventus for the last 2 seasons. He's been on loan there. Why? Whatever happened to the seasoned strikers for Juventus that were getting 30 plus goals a year? Whatever happened to Del Piero's? What happened to those players?
Well, he was actually second striker / CAM, right?
Still got 30 plus goals a year.
Yep.
Him and Trezeguet. Great combo. That was a great combo. Killed it.
Yep.
But they're talking about opting for him over McKennie, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever. McKennie's been an actual stalwart in the midfield and a constant contributor. And I think every game that he's been in there, he makes it better. And we're seeing that they're not. Yeah, and while Juve's been plugging and chugging here without him, although he's on the up and up, I don't think they've been playing as well without him.
And by the way, the rumor that you forwarded was not your rumor. You didn't make it up.
So
you did not make this rumor up. This was an ESPN article, right?
Well, and ESPN got it from another place. And we'll go over a couple of different locations here.
All right.
But yeah, ESPN states that Allegri is keen to keep Murata, but doesn't fully trust McKennie.
I'm sick of that.
Doesn't fully trust McKennie. Again, it's another silly season. You have to throw that in there.
Bullshit. When McKennie was healthy, he trusted McKennie like he trusted his own fucking dick to pee. All right? He was fine with McKennie. This is a stupid fucking dumb article. So, I mean, you can't say things like that.
So when Allegri first came this during the offseason, McKennie was not in the best of form. And he wasn't playing the best for the national team. He came back to Juventus, wasn't quite plugging and chugging there. But you know what? He got over it. He became incredibly sharp, fit, and since like mid to late September, he's been absolutely stellar for Juventus.
He's been their motor. He's been
Absolutely.
our motor on the U.S. men's national team.
It's just that one little small spell when he was probably recovering from that nagging injury from the year before. Finally got over it. Came back, not in the best of form, and it took him about a month or so. But once he started doing that, killer, absolutely killer.
It all changed when he had sex with Pulisic's sister and then went back to Juventus after getting banned. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't have sex with Pulisic's sister. It's a joke. That was the rumors that people were saying that. And, so it's like, that probably didn't happen.
I would agree. Chiesa is probably the most, probably only unmovable asset.
I wouldn't let Chiesa go unless it was bucket load of money.
I don't even know if I'd do that.
Well, people are greedy.
Unless he really wanted out, then you kind of have to. But yeah,
people are greedy.
So ESPN was the first article that I noticed this on. And so I posted this on Twitter.
And then McKennie's dad punched you.
I posted, I'm like, apparently Allegri doesn't trust McKennie with a question mark. And a lot of people were chiming in saying, this is bullshit. I don't think he does. I'm like, yeah, I 100% agree.
We agree.
I'm just posting the article.
Yes.
But Mr. John McKennie called me out on this tweet. Here's my post. He goes, something to talk about tomorrow. Rumors of McKennie to Atletico. So Juve can keep Morata? Apparently Allegri doesn't fully trust Weston.
Well, you should have put out. No, okay. After that, you should have put, I trust Weston.
No. I would have just posted the eye rolling emoji. That's all you got. You don't have to continue.
Or that, yes.
I chimed in and said that. I told that to you. I'm like, I probably should have posted that too.
Yeah. You might have been. You might have been hung over when you posted this, for all I know.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
John comes in and says, or Mr. McKennie, sorry, comes out and says, straight red card for spreading BS.
Weston's dad hates us now.
No, he doesn't hate us. No. I'm gonna get communications to him. I'm gonna send him a DM.
All right. Yeah, we'll fix it.
I responded with saying, being reported multiple locations, and if you check the rest of the comments, you'll see that I don't buy the quote unquote no trust allegations. VAR overturned. And then I said, "How's West doing, by the way?"
And of course, he's not talking to you anymore. He replied your original one and thought you were one of those conspiracy bitches. He didn't wait for the context. And how many shows he's watched of ours, I don't know. So I don't know if he knows what we generally say about Weston.
Brian, I can't tell if this is sarcasm. You need to put a eye rolling emotion on after this one too.
With his soft bones and all. Have you nibbled on his bones? Is that how you know they're soft, my friend?
So I went back and started taking a look to see where it got. There are other sites. UVFC were posted this prior to ESPN, and they basically said the same thing ESPN said, but this was linked to an Italian site, and I'm not going to try to pronounce.
Well, let me do it.
Yes, I don't know how you say that.
I can't read it. It's too small.
TODO.
I'm not. Don't even bother.
Is it up here? No, it's just allsightings.com, but it's an Italian website.
Yeah.
And they talk about it. Where was it? I scrolled up, damn it. Okay, hold on.
Man, it's
here it is. The American footballer has seen how little by little he has lost his place within the team, and the sport management has been looking for a way out for a long time.
That's such bullshit.
A broken foot would do that.
What idiots write this stuff? The dude's been injured, you moron. That's why he hasn't played. When he was healthy, he played. Before he got injured. He was playing every fucking game. This is ridiculous. I mean, the fact that people get to write for a living and make money doing and writing and saying this garbage is ridiculous. So, John, if you're out there, Mr. McKennie, let us know. Because we agree with you. We think it's horseshit. There we go. I mean, if you don't know Brett real well, of course, you would have not known that already when you smacked him in the ass. Like,
way too many tweets for him to go back to find out what my true intentions are with McKennie, I guess.
Yeah. Brett gets him. Well, at least you got
such a loose definition of a spanking.
Well, listen,
Derek, VAR overturned the spanking, so we're good.
Listen, one smack on the ass is not a spanking. Spanking is multiple smacks. One smack is a smack. Spanking's more than one smack. Then you're getting a spanking. There's 2, there's 3, there's 4. That's a fucking spanking. But yeah otherwise it's just a smack. All right, smack on the ass. Unless it's really hard. Then you'd say that's more like assault. You guys should have a chicken or the egg discussion. GGG?
Hey, Greg.
I don't know who that is. German Goo Girls. That I know.
Ooh.
It's
They branched out from our comments section into our Twitter, huh?
I know. I mean, those Pornhub posts we put up might have worked. All right.
I think single-celled organisms came first.
I'm agnostic.
That's what I said. I said single-celled organisms came first.
Well,
6,000 years ago when the Earth started.
Jesus Christ. Awesome. All right.
Let's see here.
We're not done. Okay.
We got Johnny Buckets who says, "Hey, where's my boy Fred Baker at? By the way, he really thinks Lachette is better than Musa. Dude is a troll." But Baker comes back and says, "I'm not a troll or a burner."
Okay.
So, all right. Well, that is all.
That's it for the night.
Yeah, given that we went 40 minutes without hitting our first segment, we're only about 6 minutes over where we normally end anyways.
Yeah, not bad.
Not too bad, guys. Not too bad.
It's not bad. Anyhow, we're going to chop these up for the people that weren't here for us live so they can watch them in chunks. And then we'll have
segments in there.
Yeah. But I think the next show will be the weekend. Well, it's not, we don't call it the weekend report anymore because people don't care about it. So we're going to talk about specific players and how they did over the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
This is news to me, Derek. You said the recorded session was going to be Group D.
No, we're not doing that anymore.
Well, you literally sent it this morning at 3 a.m. By the way, you got to stop texting me at 3 a.m., man. You keep waking me up.
I don't remember texting you at 3 a.m.
Yes, you did. Yeah, 3 a.m. text. I'm like, ding. I'm like, what the fuck is that? 3 in the morning? What the fuck, Derek? Go to bed.
I might have had like an idea or something like that. I don't know. It happens. I didn't know you kept your phone. Like, I turned my phone
off.
My
alarm clock.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I turn my fucker off when I go to sleep. Like, all I get is like, and I'm like, oh. Like, if I left
you keep putting quarters in your bed? Is that what you're saying?
No, sometimes I'll fall asleep and the phone will still be on the bed. Yeah. And the only reason I notice is because it does this vibration thing. I'm like, oh shit, what's going on? All right, folks, thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing with grandma and all the other things that you're doing to support us and keep us, alive and well and relevant. Although it's been slow times for many of us right now, including Sam and even Pete. I mean, it's not a lot going on in soccer, so like U.S. men's national team soccer. So I guess people really aren't
keep
on.
It up, guys.
Yeah.
And hey, appreciate everybody who went out and shared the link with their Twitter follow. We got quite a big boost for the live numbers during that time period.
Awesome, guys. Yeah.
Still great. Really I appreciate everything, guys. And make sure after you're done listening to this, go down in the comments section, leave a comment. Let's beat that algorithm, guys.
Let's beat this fucking algorithm. With a baseball bat. With a baseball bat. Let's do it. Or a bag of soap. You know how they did it on the movie. So, all right. Until the next time, we will see you soon.
Do it again. Ah, fuck. And like it. That's way too many likes. I got a comment on a channel. Fuck! Oh. Yeah. That should probably do. It should probably do. That should probably
That hurt. More verticality.